Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Philosophers Dogs pup quiz. I'm Sam Dodson, author and co-creator of Philosophers Dogs. And firstly, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in today on another lockdown Thursday. I think it's Thursday. I don't know about you, but I've literally just got out of work and had to fight rush hour traffic on the daily commute on the corridor between the bedroom and the living room. And I am absolutely wagging some pub quiz action. Now, it seems that every man and, well, his dog has been getting in on the virtual pub quiz game recently. But this one's going to be a little different, not least because of the amount of dog puns involved, but also because we have some absolutely pawsome artistic and philosophical prizes on offer for the winner. More on that shortly. So, whether you're tuning in because you're a friend or a family member and therefore obligated to take part, or because you're looking to while away the hours of quarantine in a way that doesn't involve making banana bread or watching Joe Wick's YouTube workouts and feeling bad that you're just sitting there in your underwear and somehow covered once again in Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So, how will the quiz work, I hear you ask? Well, have you been to a pub quiz? It's basically one of those, but virtual. It's going to be short. It'll hopefully be fun. There will be different rounds. And I will read the questions 2 or 3 times to make sure everyone has heard them. Questions will also be tweeted, so follow us over at Philosophy Dogs. You need to answer correctly to get points. What do points mean? Points mean prizes. I'm also following along in the live YouTube video chat here on the right-hand side, so drop me any questions if there's anything you need me to go over. I'll be looking at them there. Please do that. How are we going to know who wins? We're in a lockdown situation. We're going to have to do an honesty system. We're going to trust you to channel your inner good dog and just tell the truth when you're totting up your scores. After all, as literary porther Mark Twain once woofed, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So if you'd like to officially join and enter the running for some of these aforementioned prizes, please do send in your team name via the YouTube live chat box that you should all see. That way we can know who's playing along. The winners are going to receive some prizes from the rewards on offer through our Unbound crowdfunding campaign. That includes art prints and signed copies of our book. There's also going to be a bonus round with points available where we'll be judging your own artistic creations, which you can send us via Twitter and Instagram. Links should be in the info box of this video, and they're also at the top of the live chat box. But they are Philosophy Dogs on Twitter and Philosophers Dogs on Instagram. Taking part in the quiz is obviously completely free, but if you'd like to make a small contribution to support our campaign, there is actually also a PayPal pool link. If you're able to make a donation, however small, that would be beyond fantastic. I think your average pub quiz costs around £1 or £3, so please feel free to use that as a guide. But also, if you fancy contributing a bit more to help push us over the line and make our book a reality, you can do so either via PayPal or by signing up for one of our rewards on offer on Unbound, which will also mean you get your name in the back of every copy published. How about that? So while you're thinking up those team names, some great ones have been coming in already. And so we can wait for any late stragglers to join this furry good quiz. I'm going to give the briefest of brief intros into who I am, what Philosophers Dogs is, and why we put this quiz together. Apparently it's been the talk of the park among all the good dogs that we know. So my incredibly talented sister, Rosie Benson, and I have created Philosophers Dogs, which is a humorous illustrated book based on the idea that all philosophers stole their ideas from their dogs. Now, as shocking as it may seem to you lovely folk, there are still people out there in the world who don't know about the wise philosophical teachings, barkings, of good dogs like Sun Shih Tzu, Karl Barks, Mary Wollstonecraft, or even Barkus Aurelius. Mad, isn't it? Our book seeks to correct this injustice and answer such important questions as whether tennis balls are always real and if it is possible to truly be a good dog. We're publishing the book through award-winning publishers Unbound, who do things a bit differently and use crowdfunding to help launch books like ours out into the wild. We're currently 89% of the way towards our funding target, and this quiz is really just a way to help us build some final momentum going into that last funding stretch and also have some fun with you guys. So links to our crowdfunding campaign page and social media is in the chat box here, and all the info detail of the video. But the most important thing right now is that you have been submitting some excellent quiz team names. I really like the Jeremy Beagle's Small Hands, the Can Einsteins. I also really like the Ponderous Poodles. There's some very good ones. But keep them coming. We're keeping a track of them. So keep them coming in and join in the conversation here in the YouTube chat bar and also on Twitter using the hashtags PupQuiz and Philosophers Dogs. Do tag us and Unbound while you're at it. So without further ado, go and pour yourself a beer and we'll get started. But Sam, I hear you cry, just what kind of drink would be appropriate for a Philosopher's Dogs pub quiz? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, personally, I'm partial to a cheeky glass of Prosecco, but for this evening's purposes, I'm going to be sipping on a cheeky Brewdog because it's not even a pun and it has the word dog in it. Please note that we're not sponsored by either of these brands, but 100% would take any freebies if they're going. So cheers. Question the first. I hope you're all ready. 2020 has been a bit of a crazy year, all told, but why are astrological canines particularly interested in what this year will bring? Okay, so 2020 has been a bit of a crazy year, all told, but why are astrological canines particularly interested in what this year will bring? Question number 2. Which member of the famous five was owner of the dog Timmy? Now, if you ask me, this book should definitely be called The Famous One because who cares about 4 stupid humans? We only came for the dog and will only stay for the dog. But yeah, that question again is which member of the famous five was owner of the dog Timmy? Was it A, Julian, B, Dick, C, George, or D, Anne? But, you know, who can remember those names? It's all about Timmy. Question 3. Her Madge, the Queen of England, is known for her love of corgis. But what was the name of Liz's first pooch? Do you know? So question 3 is, Her Majesty, the Queen of England, is known for her love of corgis. But what was the name of her first pooch? What was her first corgi called? Do you know? Let's find out. Question 4. Can you name the famous canine titled book by Arthur Conan Doyle? Now, it should be Canine Doyle if we're being honest, right? So question 4 is, can you name the famous canine titled book by Arthur Conan Doyle? If you can, you're a good egg, good dog. Question 5. We're going to speed through these, but if you ever have any issues, you want me to repeat any of them, please do. I'll do it again at the end of the round as well. In the game of Monopoly, which I'm sure you've all been avoiding playing with your loved ones on account of not wanting to kill them during lockdown, which breed of dog is the playing piece? So, I'll say that again. In the game Monopoly, which breed of dog is the playing piece? So, question 6. Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? So, Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? Emily, I've just seen your question come in on the live chat about where to answer, so just answer, make a little note wherever you're playing along. At the end of this round, we'll go, at the end of the quiz, we'll go through all the answers, tot up your scores, and then just let us know at the end how many you got. It's a total honesty system. You could completely lie and just say you got them all right, but where would be the fun in that? So, moving on to question 7. Which musical composer was less adorable than the St. Bernard who shares their name in a famous children's film? So, which musical composer was less adorable than the St. Bernard who shares their name in a famous children's film? Question 8. Complete the following sentence. Can you complete the sentence from hit 90s movie Air Bud? There's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play what? Okay, so can you complete the sentence from the hit 90s movie Air Bud? There's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play blank. Shout out to our sponsors, nothing in the rulebook for this one. Do check them out, great creative collective. Question 9. According to the Kennel Club, what is the most popular breed of dog in both the UK and the US? So, according to the Kennel Club, that's both the UK and the US versions, What is the most popular breed of dog? This could be a contentious one, I know. Lindsay, I've just seen your question in the live chat. Don't worry, submit your team name now. Just make sure that you submit it before we go through the answers at the end, and then we know. So, last question of the first round. Question 10. Donald Trump is the first US president to do a lot of things, but he's also the first US president since James Pollock in 1845 not to have what? Okay, so I mean, we might have all seen enough of Donald Trump, but here's a question anyway. Donald Trump is the first US president to do a lot of things, but he's also the first US president since James Pollock in 1845 not to have what? Do you know? And that brings us to the end of round one. We made it. Great success. How did you find that? I hope fun. If you have any questions that you'd like me to read out again, please speak now and just type them in the YouTube chat that I've got going here. The rest of you, no cheating, especially the dog owners among you. No asking Fido the answers here, unless, of course, you're going to give Fido full credit for his input. Dogs have had all their ideas stolen by humans for far too long, after all. So Jessica, you missed 1 and 6. So question 1 was, why are astrological canines particularly interested in the year 2020? So, why are astrological canines particularly interested in the year 2020? Question 2. Which member of the famous five was the owner of the dog Timmy? So, which member of the famous five was the owner of the dog Timmy? Question 7 and question 6. So, question 6, Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? So, Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? And question 7, which musical composer shares their name with a St. Bernard in a famous kids' film? So, which musical composer shares their name with a St. Bernard in a famous kids' film? So I think that's I think we got all the questions there. If there are any others that you want me to read out again, just shout. And if not, we'll carry on with the quiz. So the next round is called pup-lick enemies. And this is an important round because there's been so many crimes committed against dog kind for so long. The following pup-lick enemies have all particularly transgressed the rules of canine kind in one way or another. And if they were dogs themselves, would almost certainly warrant being called that most egregious of all things, a bad dog. But what did each of the following do to break the rules so badly and get their names up on this list? So you're going to receive points here if you get both the reason and their pop cultural origin. So the characters we're looking for are as follows: Regina George, Mr. Tinkles, Joffrey Baratheon, Cruella de Vil, and Viggo Tarasov. So just to be clear here, each of these characters have committed a crime against canine kind. But what did they do and where are they from? So we've got Regina George, Mr. Tinkles, Joffrey Baratheon, Cruella de Vil, and Viggo Tarasov. Boo! Hiss! Boo! You're all bad people! That's what they are. So, Regina George, Mr. Tinkles, Joffrey Baratheon, Cruella de Vil, and Viggo Tarasov. They all committed crimes against canine kind, but what did they do, and can you place their pup cultural origin? Some tough ones there, some easy ones, I'd say. So, that's the end of round 2. It's a quick one. While you're pondering that, it's just a few words, really, to say those really were some horrible pup-lick enemies. It's crazy to think that any dog could ever be called a bad dog when you have horrible critters like that running around all over the place. Again, please shout out in the YouTube comments if you have any technical issues or hearing or want me to repeat any questions or explain anything. But in the meantime, we'll move on to the next round, because this is the round that I know you've all been waiting for. That's right, it's the Labradoodle round. So, pens and creative instincts at the ready. Now, our book, Philosophers Dogs, has been illustrated by my absurdly talented sister, Rosie Benson. But one of the things that this has really brought to light is that dogs have really been the subject of portraits not nearly enough. In fact, dogs haven't been the subject of anything nearly enough. So, by sending in your doodles, drawings, models, photos, and everything else, you're going to help us rectify this. What we want you to do, friends, is to create an artistic homage to dogs, whether that's through an illustration or creating a modern art style sculpture of a dog using nothing but the objects you have around you in lockdown. Maybe we will see some poodles made out of pots and pans, or a French bulldog made out of towels. Maybe there'll even be an interpretive dance. Whatever creative homage you create, we want to see it. So please submit your doodles, photos, and or videos to us via Twitter, tagging us and Unbound at Philosophy Dogs and Unbounders, using the hashtags PupQuiz and Philosophers Dogs. Just remember to include your PupQuiz team name when you do, so we can keep a track of who sent in what. If you don't have Twitter, do not worry. You can send in your drawings via email or Instagram. The email address you can send them to is philosophersdogs@gmail.com. And our Instagram account is philosopher_dogs. Points are going to be awarded completely arbitrarily here in the judging studio. You'll be pleased to know that this is also coinciding with a very short intermission where you can all refill your beers and beverages. You can ping me any questions about previous rounds. You can have a chat amongst yourselves, and perhaps even, if you fancied it, and if you've been enjoying this quiz so far, you could pop a cheeky contribution to us via our PayPal pool link, or perhaps even sign up for a pre-ordered copy of our book or one of our other awards via Unbound. So links to all these things are in the info box of the video. But also you can just check out Unbound Philosophers Dogs in Google. Yeah, it'd be amazing if you can support in any way at all. So while you're doing those amazing doodles and illustrations and videos and all else besides, while you're filling up your glasses of poor Secco, I'll just explain a little bit about what's coming up. So after this, we have one final round, and then we'll be going through all the answers. We'll be judging your illustrations, and perhaps most importantly of all, we'll be determining who among you are good enough to be described as good dogs, perhaps even very good dogs. And we'll be awarding the winners of this quiz with some prizes from our unique and limited edition collection of Philosophers Dogs rewards. So please do keep submitting your team names if you want to be considered for any of these prizes. And if you can, help us spread the word about our book to your friends and family. Jodie, you have pretty much until the end of the quiz to create it. But the next round will be starting in not too long a time. Give a couple of minutes so everyone can center themselves, get inspired by various canine muses, and then we'll be cracking on. But yeah, as long as you've submitted them before we read out the answers, we'll take them into account. Thanks for the question. So yeah, remember you can follow us along on the usual social media platforms. Links, as always, are in the comments box at the top of the text chat and at the info box section of this video. But yeah, as I say, search Philosophy Dogs on Twitter and Philosophers Dogs on Facebook and Instagram, and you should be able to find us. So while you're busy drawing away or pouring yourself new drinks, I just want to take the chance to say thanks so much for joining us again. If you've just joined us, please do stick around and play along for the final round. It's really great to have you all here. We've got about 50 of you here, which is pretty amazing, considering I put this together not too long ago, and you guys are just the absolute best. So yeah, fantastic to have you all here, whether you're one of our friends or friends, family, or members of friends, or if you saw this on social media, or perhaps you're one of our amazing 290-odd supporters who have already pledged to support our book, and you've heard about this through our crowdfunding campaign. But regardless of how you found out about us, it's just the absolute proverbial dog's bollocks to have you here. So just thank you. It's just the best. You're the best. Just great. Fantastic. Thanks. Yeah, just also note that if you missed any questions from previous rounds, they're also on Twitter. So you can check them out there, read through, check your answers and responses. I hope your artistic creations are going well. I'm really enjoying some of the chat. We've got some great new team names: Humorous Huskies, Buddy's Angels. Buddy's Angels, you're Twitter free. Not to worry. If you want to submit your artistic creations, please send us an email at philosophersdogs@gmail.com with an attachment with your pick, or send us a message on Facebook. So our Facebook details is Philosophers Dogs, and you can also find us on Instagram at Philosopher Dogs. So do check out our social media and send us your artistic creations there. Oh, Chris, thank you so much for my jacket compliments. I got to say, I found this jacket at Topshop, and it was reduced from like 100 something pounds to like 25. And it's like, I would be losing money not to buy this jacket. So thank you. Louis, what was round 2? Where are they from and what do they do to dogs? Yes, basically. So round 2 was our pup-lick enemies round. So there were 5 people that we listed, or critters, I should say. Don't want to be biased against anyone. And we wanted you to say, what did they do against dogs and where are they from? What's their pup cultural origin? So just to say again, those people we're looking for on the wanted list are Regina George, Mr. Tinkles, Joffrey Baratheon, Cruella de Vil, and Vigo Tarasov. Ah, Grace, you're far too kind. Louis, I hope that answers your question. I think we've had about 5 minutes of drawing. I think that's probably enough to channel your canine moves. Yeah, well, you don't want to be missing the 8 o'clock clap for all carers here in the UK and all our amazing NHS workers and public workers who are working on throughout this coronavirus pandemic. So yeah, we'll move on to the final round and then we'll do the answers. Oh, wait, quick question from Macaroonsification. Sam, if you were a dog, what Labrador would you be? I'm glad you asked. I've asked this question of myself many times. I think the answer is probably a black Labrador in the mornings, a yellow Labrador around midday, and finally a golden retriever in the evening. Thanks. Keep them coming. So, time to move on. We're going to move on to our next and final round. If you haven't finished drawing yet, if you haven't finished your photographs or your interpretive dance, you really should. Regardless of what state your illustration, model, dance, video, whatever is in, I want to see it. So ping it across to us on Twitter or email or Instagram, and we'll be giving it all sorts of points for your picks. And remember, what do points mean? Points mean prizes. You got there before me. Thanks. Final round. It wouldn't really be a pub quiz without a music round. So this is our top of the pups. And of course, it's important to remember that it isn't just philosophers who have been stealing their ideas from their dogs for hundreds, if not thousands of years. In fact, many famous musicians have done so too. Just think of Queens of the Bone Age or the Rolling Bones. Can you see where we got with the puns on that one? And you also know that Anne Drewell Lloyd Webber's Cats is actually just a ripoff of dogs, right? Anyway, let's not get distracted. On with the questions. Question 1. Puppy Love was originally performed by Donny Osmond in 1972, but it was covered by which teen pop band sensation 2002? Question 1. Puppy Love was originally performed by Donny Osmond in 1972, but it was covered by which teen pop band sensation in 2002? While we're going, I've just seen Macaroonsification has asked another good question. What are you supposed to draw? You're supposed to draw an homage to canine kind, whether that's a portrait of a dog or anything else inspired by dogs. It doesn't have to be a drawing. It can be a dance. It can be a video. It can be a model made out of pots and pans, whatever you like. Send it in. So, question 2. In 2000, the Baha Men released what would become perhaps the only song they're known for. But what philosophical question did they ask? So in 2000, the Baha Men released what would become perhaps the only song they're known for. But what philosophical question did they ask? Question 3. Snoop Dogg was one of Canine Kind's favorite rappers for many years. But how did he famously betray dog kind in 2012 before seeing the error of his ways the following year? So, question 3 of the pup music round. Snoop Dogg was one of Canine Kind's favorite rappers for many years. But how did he famously betray dog kind in 2012 before seeing the error of his ways the following year? Question 4. What animal did Elvis Presley's hound dog never catch? So I'll read that again. What animal did Elvis Presley's hound dog never catch? Question 5. Florence and the Machine falsely proclaimed that the dog days are over in 2008. How did she advise us to deal with such a catastrophe? So, Florence and the Machine falsely proclaimed that the dog days are over in 2008. How did she advise us to deal with such a catastrophe? So, a bit of lyrical knowledge for you there. Question 6. In the Beatles hit, Hey Bulldog, how many children does the song's protagonist claim to have? So, in the Beatles hit, Hey Bulldog, how many children does the song's protagonist claim to have? Any Beatles fans out there? Again, once, why would you name your band after an insect when you could name it after a dog? There you go. They got a good song, at least, out of it, so can't judge them too much. Question 7. How much is that doggy in the window caused quite a stir in bottom-sniffing circles upon its release, bringing to light, as it did so, the dark and seedy world of canine prostitution. But who sang it? So, what we're looking for here is who sang the song, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? Do you know? I know, but I've got the answers here. So, question 8. Robert Plant channeled his inner woofer when he sang, I gotta roll, I can't stand still. But what colour was the dog from the title of the song from which this lyric is taken? So Robert Plant channeled his inner woofer when he sang, I gotta roll, I can't stand still. But what colour was the dog from the title of the song from which this lyric is taken? Do you know? In question 9, a young Bow Wow released his first album, of the Dog, in 2001. How old? We want your answers in dog years, please. So, young Bow Wow released his first album, Beware of the Dog, in 2001. How old was he? Please send in your answers in dog years. And for this, we'll be using this just simple 7 years for a dog year to a human year. I know there's some technical differences, in the myriads of the internet, but 7 times 1, that's what we're looking for. A young Bow Wow released his first album, Beware of the Dog, in 2001. How old was he? And this is our last question, guys, from the Pup Quiz 2020. And it's a good one. I'm not going to lie. It's question 10. What valuable carbon-based dog did David Bowie pen one of his hit songs in honor of in 1974? So, what valuable carbon-based dog did David Bowie pen one of his hit songs in honor of in 1974? Do you know? That's the final question. I'll read it one more time. What valuable carbon-based dog did David Bowie pen one of his hit songs in honor of in 1974? And that's all, folks, as they say. With that, our quiz is out of questions. So, firstly, as with previous rounds, please do shout if you need me to repeat any of the questions from the pup music round, or indeed any of the questions from before. But I'll say again, all of our questions have been also posted on Twitter, so do follow us at Philosophy Dogs, and you should be able to see them written out there. Carbon, yeah, carbon-based. So carbon is in like the chemical. Yeah, Raj got it. Fantastic. You're answering each other. Brilliant. And yeah, great. So if there aren't any other questions, we're going to run through the answers to each of them. And at the end of that, we'll need you to submit your scores. So this is also your final chance to throw your hat in the ring to get some of our prizes on offer. So if you haven't already, make sure you quickly add your team name to the YouTube live chat here. No, not cardigan based, although, it could have been. So yeah, if you want to be considered for some of the prizes, add your team name if you haven't already. There have been some great ones though, so fantastic. Doesn't look like we've got any requests for questions or repeat. Oh, what's your email address? It is philosophersdogs@gmail.com. You should write that in the thing, although I don't actually have access to this. Oh, Beatles hit Hey Bulldog. So question 6 was in the Beatles hit. Does the song's protagonist claim to have? What else we got? We've got, what's the email address? It is, I'm going to type it out. There you go. Send in your doggy pictures. Don't send in your dodgy pictures. Looking forward to checking them out. And yeah, finally. Oh, Emily, you're the best. So you've sent in your submissions. We're going to be reviewing these like it was nobody's business. So yeah, final scores. We're just going to go through the answers now, and you're going to have to top them up. Yeah, send in your results, and then we'll do a little bit of judging of the art round, and we'll carry on. So, question 1 of round 1 was 2020 has been a bit of a crazy year. It was the Chinese Year of the Dog. I just want to make sure that this is still working. Screen seems to have frozen. I hope it's working for you. Send in a message if not. Oh, it's buffering. Okay, it looks like it's fine. I'm back. I think I'm back. It looks okay. So as I said, we're now at the stage of the quiz. So we're going to go through them now, yeah, please just follow along, and at the end, in your total scores along with your team names, so we can judge who's winning. Great. So question the first was 2020 has been a crazy year, all told. But why are astrological canines particularly interested in what this year will bring? It is, of course, the Chinese Year of the Dog. Now, I don't know, dogs didn't really predict coronavirus, I hope, but yeah. Chinese Year of the Dog. Did you get that? Question 2. Which member of the famous 5 was owner of the dog Timmy? Was it Julian, George, or Anne? It was George. So C. If you got that, fantastic. You remember humans better than dogs, maybe, but no judge. 3. Her Majesty the Queen of England was Susan. Who names their dog Susan? Absolutely mad. Did you get that? If you did, amazing. Question 4. Can you name the canine titled book Arthur Conan Doyle? It was The Hound of the Baskervilles. So can you name the famous canine titled book by Arthur Conan Doyle? It was The Hound of the Baskervilles. In question 5, in the game Monopoly, which breed of dog is the playing piece? Which breed of dog is the playing piece? It is the Scottish Terrier, or Scotty. Question 6. Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? He starred in the movie Back to the Future. So Einstein was a very famous dog, but what made him famous? He starred in the movie Back to the Future. Oh, there's a question about the Chinese New Year. Well, I mean, in canine circles, Chinese New Year and astrology are actually really interlinked. So there's another little fact about dogs that perhaps we didn't know, but we learned something. Question 7. Which musical composer was less adorable than the St. Bernard who shares their name in a famous children's film? Beethoven. Of course it was Beethoven. What a great film. Was it good? I don't know. It had a good dog in it, so it must have been good. So which musical composer was less adorable than the St. Bernard who shares their name in a famous children's film? It was Beethoven. Question 8. Can you complete the sentence from hit 90s movie Air Bud? There's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play basketball. And also, I haven't actually seen this movie, but I've checked it out on YouTube, and the dog really does play basketball. He also wears a little hat and a little outfit and little socks. And yeah, I mean, it's worth checking it out just for that. But yeah, so can you complete the sentence from hit 90s movie Air Bud? There's nothing in the rulebook that says a dog can't play what? It was basketball. Question 9. According to the Kennel Club, what is the most popular breed of dog in the UK and the US? It is the Labrador Retriever, also known as the best dog breed. But, you know, who am I to judge? So yeah, according to the Kennel Club, which is the most popular breed of dog? It is the Labrador Retriever. Question 10. Donald Trump is the first US president to do a lot of things, but he's also the first US president since James Pollock in 1845 not to have what? Was a dog. So Donald Trump is the first US president since 1845 not to have a dog. And if that wasn't further evidence that that man is just not fit to rule anything, I don't know what is. If there are any dog and Trump fans watching, I apologize, but yeah, if you don't have a dog, you just shouldn't be president. So moving on to round 2. Oh, good point, Eric. Actually, yeah, Mitch McConnell. Yeah, could be. So public enemies. So the following public enemies had all transgressed the rules of canine kind in one way or another. And if they were dogs themselves, they would almost certainly warrant being called the most egregious of all things, a bad dog. But what did each of the following do to break the rules so badly and get their names up on the list? We were looking for both the reason and this person or critter's pop cultural origin. So first up, we had Regina George. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. What did she do? Well, she tried to stop fetch from happening. Where is she from? Mean Girls. So yes, Regina George tried to stop fetch from happening, and she's from Mean Girls, aka a fantastic movie. Next up, we had Mr. Tinkles. So he's from Cats and Dogs, and he wanted to make humans allergic to dogs. What? If you've ever seen this movie, Mr. Tinkles wanted to make humans allergic to dogs and had various other nefarious schemes, but that was his main modus operandi. So yeah, if you got Mr. Tinkles, if you got him wanting to make humans allergic to dogs, and if you got that he was from the film Cats and Dogs, then give yourself a couple of points and a pat on the back. Next up, we had Lindsay. No, you get a point for each. So 1 point for the where they're from and 1 point from what they did. Next up, we had Joffrey Baratheon. What did he do? Well, he killed Lady, which was the direwolf, which is sort of like a big, sort of scary dog owned by Sansa Stark. And he's obviously from Game of Thrones. So yeah, Joffrey Baratheon killed Lady, and he's from Game of Thrones. Next on the list, we had Cruella de Vil. Oh, and he also berated the Hound. That's actually very good. That's a very good point. You can give yourself a bonus point for that. I like it. But really, he killed a dog. So next up, we had Cruella de Vil. And if you didn't get this one, where have you been? So she wanted to make a fur coat out of Dalmatian puppies. And she's from 101 Dalmatians. What? And then we had, Louis. That's a very good point. But he sort of forced Ned to kill Lady. So I think there's a fair challenge there, and I'm willing to accept that there were lots of things that Joffrey did that were wrong. If you got either berating the Hound or killing Lady or being responsible for Lady's death, Give yourself some points. It's pup slaughter. Mark agrees. Yeah. Cruella de Vil. She wanted to make a fur coat out of Dalmatian puppies, and she's from 101 Dalmatians. And then last on the list, we had Viggo Tarasov. So if anyone gets this, fair play. But he killed John Wick's dog, and he's from the film John Wick. So any Keanu Reeves fans who are really, really into John Wick, Viggo Tarasov is the guy who killed his dog. John Wick is the pop cultural origin, and the nefarious act that got him listed on the public enemies list is that he killed John Wick's dog. Yes, Louis, give yourself a point for the hand. So that was round 2, and we're going to go on to round 3 now. This was the top of the pups. The first question was, Puppy Love was originally performed by Donny Osmond in 1972, but it was covered by which teen pop band sensation in 2002? It was S Club Juniors. Do you remember them? Do you remember S Club 7? Do you remember that they had a spin-off made out of children? Mad. What a time to be alive. So Puppy Love was originally performed by Donny Osmond in 1972, but it was covered by which teen pop band sensation in 2002? It was S Club Juniors. Question 2. In 2000, the Baha Men released what would become perhaps the only song they're known for. But what philosophical question did they ask? I hope you all got this one. It was, who let the dogs out? So in 2000, the Baha Men released what would become perhaps the only song that they're known for. But what philosophical question did they ask? It was, who let the dogs out? Question 3. Who? Exactly. Question 3. Snoop Dogg was one of Canine Kind's favorite rappers for many years. But how did he famously betray Dog Kind in 2012 before seeing the error of his ways the following year? He changed his name to Snoop Lion. Why would he do such a thing? Mad. So Snoop Dogg changed his name to Snoop Lion in 2012. Absolute traitor. Question 4. What animal did Elvis Presley's hound dog never catch? It was a rabbit. He ain't never caught a rabbit, and he ain't no friend of mine for doing just that. Although actually, rabbits are probably okay, fine too. Not as good as dogs. So what animal did Elvis Presley's hound dog never catch? It was a rabbit. Next, we had the question 5. Florence and the Machine falsely proclaimed that the dog days are over in 2008. How did she advise us to deal with such a catastrophe? She told us to run. So question 5, Florence and the Machine falsely proclaimed that the dog days are over in 2008. How did she advise us to deal with such a catastrophe? Run. In the Beatles hit, Hey Bulldog, how many children does the song's protagonist have? The answer is 10, which is almost as many as Boris Johnson possibly has. How can we possibly know? So in the Beatles hit, Hey Bulldog, how many children does the song's protagonist claim to have? The answer is 10. Did we have many Beatles fans? Who knows? Question 7. How much is that doggy in the window caused quite a stir in dog bottom-sniffing circles upon its release, bringing to light, as it did so, the dark and seedy world of canine prostitution. But who sang it? So who sang the song, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? The answer is Patti Page. Remember her? What a great song. Simpler times. So Patti Page sang the song, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? Question 8. Robert Plant channeled his inner woofer when he sang, I Got a Roll, I Can't Stand Still. But what colour was the dog from the title of the song from which this lyric is taken? The answer is black, and the song is by Led Zeppelin. So Robert Plant, singer of Led Zeppelin, sang that he had to roll. He's just got to roll. I Can't Stand Still. And the colour of the dog from the title of that song was black. It's the black dog. So question 9. A young Bow Wow released his first album, Beware of the Dog, in 2001. How old was he? We wanted your answers in dog years. So Bow Wow was 13 years old in 2001 when he released this album, which means he was 91 in dog years, a veritable whippersnapper in some respects and also very old in others. So yeah, Bow Wow was 91 years old in dog years in 2001 when he released his album Beware of the Dog. And our last question of the main quiz was, what valuable carbon-based dog did David Bowie pen one of his hit songs in honor of in 1974? The answer is Diamond. The song is obviously Diamond Dogs. So if you got Diamond, give yourself some points. And what do points mean? Yes, they mean prizes. Woo! So that's it. We now need to think about what the final scores are. There aren't any more questions and there aren't any more answers. So please let us know how many points you got by adding a comment with your team name in the YouTube live chat here on the sidebar. We obviously have one final thing to factor in points-wise, and that's the result of the art round. And these results are actually just in. We've been given these some really considerate thought during the course of this quiz. And I'm pleased to announce that the winner, or best in show, as you say, is... the winner is best in show. Oh, God. So fantastic work to best in show. Congratulations. And then we've got a couple of honorable mentions. So, oh my God, this is really excellent, guys. So here is best in show just for everyone's consideration. And it's walking a dog using what I believe is string and a sort of a cushion from a sofa, I guess, or a gym bag. It's very good. Very good. Well done. And some honorable mentions. So you guys getting some bonus points. It's Team Peacock. Some very good whittling, I believe. And dogging. Doing things with bananas we won't talk about. And then finally we had Ponderous Poodles channeling pub vibes with peanuts. So here is Ponderous Poodles. And this is quite a good little dog made out of peanut shells. Someone's been eating a lot of peanuts. That is the result of one long peanut-fueled lockdown. Fantastic. So, yes. What have we got there? Someone got 77 out of 18. Oh, in dog points. Very nice. Very, very good. 18. Well, excellent. Guys, so we're going to do award complete arbitrary points here for those art rounds. We're going to give Best in Show 10. And we're going to give 5 points to each of those honorable mentions. So Team Peacock, Dogging, and Ponderous Poodles, each give yourself 5 points. But anyone who sent in an illustration, give yourself a bonus point for just being great. Excellent, fantastic stuff. Guys, look at these scores. Best in Show got 25. I think that might be the winner here. And we've got Dogging with 20. Some really fantastic. This is close. Lots of 19s. Oh, 22. Canine and Tonic. Oh, what a great team name. Fantastic. Macaroonsification also got 20. So I think that's a tie. Oh, what do we do with a tie? Oh, what do we do with a tie?
Did either of them send art?
So we're going to have to look at your artwork, I think. So we've got Dogging got 20 with the 5 points, and Maroonsification got 20. So Maroonsification, did you get an extra point for just submitting something? Because if so, I think that just puts you over into 21 time. Jay Bobbiffle also got 20. Is that including your your illustration contribution? Because if so, that... Oh, guys, thanks so much for your amazing words. Mrs. Watson, your video was sent to you on Facebook and it didn't go through. We will look at that and we will give you an arbitrary 2 points by way of apologies. Oh, Canine and Tonic got 23 without a picture, so I think you're up there, and up there with Best in Show and Dogging. So I think that's right. So that's our top three. So we're going to give you some prizes. And how are we going to do this? This is an important question. There's a bit of practicalities here. But basically, what we need you to do is not share your details online publicly. So we want you to get in touch with us through a few extra steps. Follow us on Twitter and drop us a direct message, or like us on Facebook and send us a message, or send us an email directly at philosophersdogs@gmail.com, and we will reply to you and we'll work out what your postcode, what your post address is, and how we can get these goodies sent to you. So we're going to get the winners, which is best in show, with a, oh God, we've got lots of more things. Is this right? There's a couple more 23.
But 25 doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Alex van der Steen, you got 23 as well. Fantastic stuff. I think we're going to have some prize. We're going to have to give some quite a few books away. It's all good. We've got lots of books to give away. The main thing is the art print. So yeah, as I say, best in show. Get in touch with us over at gmail.com, philosophersdogs@gmail.com, or Twitter or Facebook, and we'll make sure that we can get your details so we can send you that art print. As for everyone else who got 23, do the same, and we'll make sure we get you a book winging its way through to you through the post. Oh, take the shirt off, but keep the blazer on. That's an interesting request. So yes, thanks so much, guys. That's it, I think. We might have to take some of this offline with your questions. So email us. If you got over 20, email us, and we'll take it forward and we'll get you a book at least. And that's it. All that's left to say again is thanks so much to each and every one of you for joining. It's been a lot of fun putting this together, and fantastic that so many of people got involved. I really hope you liked it, and maybe we'll do it again someday. Perhaps even in an actual pub, although to be fair, it's been quite fun doing it virtually. So we're going to be ending the stream now, but I would just say, once again, if you're able to donate, that would be absolutely brilliant. We do have a PayPal pool link where you can chip in a couple of quid, but we also have our Unbound crowdfunding page, which will be fantastic if you can sign up for a copy of a book or one of our other awards that Rosie has created. Would be amazing to get over 90%. Thank you so much. Stay safe and stay well. We're going to see you on the flip side. Now go and spread the good word about how good dogs are. Thank you.